Hi everybody, Jillian here for Illustrated Faith. I've got a new Bible journaling process video for you using the From Mess to Message devotional kit written by Lucretia, new from Illustrated Faith. So I'm going to be in the session Mess to Mended, and I'm journaling in my interleaved journaling Bible in James chapter 1 verse 12. I love this verse that Lucretia points us to. It says, "Blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial, for when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life, which God has promised to those who love him." So I'm going to be talking about that using pieces from the kit and then some really fun media gloss sprays from Dina Wakley and some of these fabric triangles that I have left over from last year's Big Story devotional kit. I have some recycled grocery bags here on my desk to protect my work surface because I'm going to spray the gloss spray or experiment a little bit with some of these fabric triangles. I know that these take paint really well, so I'm going to play around a little bit and see what kind of effects I can get. I know that I want to stick to a color scheme of pinks and purples and things like that, so I'm going to go ahead and pick out maybe 10 or so pink triangles and then put the rest away. And then I'm going to sort these into, or split these up into two groups because I want to try a couple different methods. So the first, with the group on the left, I'm just going to spray the media gloss spray onto the triangles here. And then if you do like a slow press on the nozzle button there, you get larger droplets when you spray it. And then I decided just to remove the nozzle, unscrew it from the bottle, and then kind of like try and splatter them on the triangles. But it wasn't so successful. And I'm thinking at this point I like the triangles on the left side a little better. There's more color on them. And I also remembered too that I don't necessarily love this splatter effect when it comes to pinks and reds. But I'm just going to go with it here and kind of like try and cover up those splatters more with like a mist. So I went ahead and put that fuchsia color to the side and then tried to like splatter the white on here a little bit, but it wasn't really working. And then the nozzle I think is clogged, so I wasn't able to successfully spray the white around. But I wanted to see if I could layer the color on these triangles. The white kind of faded away a little bit. So you can just see that the white is like seeping into the fabric. I did decide to remove them from the backing so they didn't become adhered to the brown paper. And then as I was doing that, I noticed that there was like some of the overspray was still wet, so I thought about maybe like smushing the triangle into that overspray. And I got some cool effects, but this stuff dries pretty quick. When I did that though, I lost the splatter effect, which was great by me. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put those to the side so that they can dry naturally and then move on to the next part. So for the first layer on my Bible page, I wanted to, again, stick to those purples and pinks. So I'm going to water down this lavender acrylic craft paint. Use a paintbrush to splatter that up and down my page underneath where I want some of the larger elements that I'm going to use on my page. I wanted to bring some of that color over to the left side also where the verse is, but then I realized that the verse that I'm journaling is on the back side of this page, so I'll just have to reference it later, but I definitely like bringing some of that color over to the text side. So I'm going to let this dry too and then work on the next thing. So I had pulled out Jill Drang-Schultz Mess to Message journaling cards from the Print and Pray shop, and I knew I wanted to use them, so I made sure that they were on my desk so I didn't forget about them. I have the florals, the From Where I Stand florals that I used a couple weeks ago in my video, and then I wanted to back the card with the watercolor stickers that were included in the kit. So similarly to my last process video, I'm going to use some foam dimensional adhesive and put that on the back of the card. Peel off the paper because it's double-sided, and then lay that on top of this this like watercolor sticker. You can see that I didn't even remove the watercolor sticker from the backing. I adhered it to the matte side, so you can see that there's a shiny side and then a matte side. Alright, so there we go. So it's just got a little bit of dimension. You can see here it's maybe 1/4 of an inch, but I like the little shadow that you get on the watercolor sticker. Okay, so for the next couple of layers, now that my paint is like kind of mostly dry, I grabbed the black ray washi tape because I want to add little strips of that on my page, and then also the Pocket Posie stamp from Vanessa that is currently out of stock in the Illustrated Faith shop, but I love using this kind of like as a background element on some of my more messy pages. So I put both of those to the side so I didn't forget to use them. Sometimes I'm a little scatterbrained when I create and then end up forgetting, oh yeah, I had wanted to use that. So I've gotten in the habit of putting things out on my desk so I don't forget to use them. Does that ever happen to you guys where you like totally forget that you wanted to do something and then once it's too late to add it, you realize that, oh hey, I had wanted to use that. Alright, so now that those pieces are down, I'm going to try and put together the largest element on my page, which is the floral die cut, the Mended card, and then this print and pray card. It's like a little journaling spot for notes. I don't need it as long as it comes, so I trimmed it down a couple of times, and then I'm just going to use my tape runner to adhere these, but then I'm realizing, wait, don't do that yet. Go ahead and stamp first. So I have an idea of where I want that cluster to go on my page, so I'm going to use Vanessa's stamps a couple times in areas where I know they'll be just peeking out from underneath that cluster. So I'm going for a floral, like peeking out from the top and then the bottom, and then later on in the video, once everything is pretty much down, I'll add a few more stamps. Now I'll go ahead and assemble my focal point here. Everything's got tape on it, so it's pretty easy to stick together. And then I wanted it like in the bottom half of my page, kind of nestled up against the left side where the text is. And then now that these triangles are also mostly dry, I'm going to go ahead and just put some roller adhesive on the back of those. So I wanted to use about 5 or 6 of these as arrows pointing towards my focal point from the top and the bottom. Again, wanting to add some color and some of those elements that are on the right over to the left by the text. And then I wanted one coming out of the corner, so I cut this one in half and then put some tape on the back, but then couldn't remember its orientation, like how did I have it? How was it going to go? So I just put it down as if it was coming out of the binding of my Bible, because it was looking a little colorless over on that side of the page. And then I ran that little scrap of Jill's card through my typewriter so I could have a tab and then also like a little title for my card there on my page. I also had dipped this little card scrap in the wet paint on my palette before coming back to my desk, so I thought that was fun, and I very carefully ran that through my tab punch so I didn't get paint anywhere. So the title on my page is going to read Mess to Mended. So I'm using the washi tape from the kit to put down another pop of color and like a little landing spot for this teeny tiny bit of wordfetti. And then I put my Bible mat back under my page because I wanted to do a little more stamping towards the top where I thought I was going to put my tab, and then also down at the bottom. I wanted to see some more of the stamp coming from this die cut floral, so I masked the floral because I wanted it to appear as if it was coming out from behind it and not on top of it. I didn't get a great impression, so I stamped it a couple times and kind of like how it looks. It's a little messy. And then I'm going to do the same thing up at the top. Again, not a great impression, so I'll try again. There we go. I decided to put my tab over on the left side. It just says Mended. I typed the word Mended across the top. I put that down with, again, that tape runner, and I'll adhere it with some more of this black ray washi. And then, I don't know, there was just this little bit down towards the bottom that was calling out to me, like, this needs something, but I didn't necessarily want to add another element, so I just put my date stamp there multiple times to fill in that space. And then I'm referring to the verse that I'm journaling, which again, like I said, is on the back side here. So I'm just going to transcribe it onto this little notes card, and then maybe I'll do some more journaling underneath those pink triangles later off camera, like after I have some time to sit with it. I added a couple more pieces of this black ray washi tape in a couple areas where it was just looking a little sparse. And then again, similar to the last devotional kit process video I did, it just seems kind of like colorless to me. Maybe it's the large white card. So I decided to bring some more of that watered down purple paint out, and I splattered that all over the page. Unfortunately, I had dipped my paintbrush in my drinking water glass instead of my paint water glass. I couldn't believe I did that. I usually am a little better about paying attention, but I think it was late at night when I made this. And then I'm just looking at this one triangle front and center that is just a little too saturated with paint. So I ended up swapping that out with a plain pink triangle with some of the stringy bits still attached. And that's it. So I've got a couple of photos of my finished page here with some close-ups. And thanks so much for joining us today. Remember, it's not too late to join in with us for Mess to Message. You can find the devotional kit linked down in the video description below. I'll see you guys soon. I hope you have a great rest of your day.